My husband stood at the podium about to accept his dream promotion, Vice President of Operations. In the ballroom, colleagues, executives, clients, he was thanking everyone who made it possible, his team, his mentors, his loving, supportive wife. That's when I stood up. Before you go any further, I said, my voice echoing through the room, I think everyone should know this. My name is Monica, and I was married to Davis for 8 years. We met in our mid-20s at a networking event. Davis was ambitious, charming, driven. He worked in operations management for a pharmaceutical company. I was a lawyer at a corporate firm. We were the power couple, the ones who had it all figured out. Davis's career was everything to him. He worked 60-hour weeks, traveled constantly, brought work home every night. I didn't mind. I was equally career-focused. We understood each other's drive. I supported his ambitions completely. When he had a big presentation, I'd quiz him. When he was stressed about a project, I'd listen for hours. When he was passed over for promotions, I'd encourage him to keep pushing. You're going to make VP before you're 40, I'd tell him. Only if you keep being my secret weapon, he'd say. And I was. The perfect corporate wife. I attended company dinners, charmed his bosses, networked with executive spouses. I made Davis look good, stable, reliable, a family man ready for leadership. We didn't have kids yet, both too focused on careers, but we talked about it. After I make VP, Davis would say, then we'll slow down and start a family. 6 months ago, Davis came home ecstatic. They're promoting Greg to SVP, he said, and they're considering me for his VP position. This is it, babe. This is what we've been working toward. I was thrilled. You deserve this. You've worked so hard. The next 6 months were intense. Davis worked even longer hours. He was traveling twice a week, barely home, but I understood. This was his moment. Just a few more months, he'd say. Once I get the promotion, things will calm down. I believed him. I believed everything. 3 months ago, Davis hired a new assistant. Her name was Jane, 22 years old, fresh out of college, eager to impress. She's smart, Davis mentioned casually. Really on top of things. Makes my job so much easier. I thought nothing of it. Davis had had assistants before. This was normal. But then Jane started coming up in conversation a lot. Jane found this great solution for the inventory problem. Jane organized the whole conference. She's incredible. Jane suggested we try this new scheduling system. Still, I didn't worry. Davis traveled with his whole team. Jane was just part of that team. I was so naive. The first real red flag came. Davis's phone habits changed. He'd always been pretty open with his phone. He left it lying around and didn't care if I saw messages. But suddenly, he was protective, taking it everywhere, sleeping with it under his pillow, face down on tables. Who are you texting? I asked one night when he smiled at his screen. Just Jane about tomorrow's meeting, he said quickly, putting the phone away. Jane. Always Jane. Then came the late nights. Davis had always worked late, but this was different. He'd text me at 9 p.m. Still at the office, don't wait up. But when I'd call his office line, it would ring and ring. No answer. I was in a conference room, he'd explain. Phone was at my desk. The traveling increased too. Last-minute client emergency outside the city. Surprise audit with a client. Jane and I need to visit the company's second facility. Jane and I, like they were a unit. I started paying attention, really paying attention. Davis smelled different when he came home late. Not bad, just different. Like expensive perfume mixed with his cologne. His credit card statements showed charges I didn't recognize. Restaurants I'd never heard of. A hotel in our own city. Client dinner, he'd said. But the hotel. The team meeting ran so late I just crashed nearby instead of driving home, he explained. Every explanation was reasonable, plausible. but my gut was screaming. Finally, a few weeks later, I did something way out of what I would ever do. I hired a private investigator. I gave him Davis's schedule, his patterns, everything. I need to know if my husband is having an affair, I said, and if he is, I need proof. The investigator was thorough. He followed Davis for 1 week, and he eventually found a lot Davis and Jane were having an affair, and not a new one. They'd been involved for months, basically since she was hired. The investigator had photos. So many photos. Davis and Jane having dinner at romantic restaurants, checking into hotels together, kissing in parking garages, getting into elevators with their hands all over each other. The worst photo was from their work trip 2 weeks ago. They weren't there. They were at a beach resort, lying on lounge chairs, Jane in a bikini, Davis rubbing sunscreen on her back. While I was home working 12-hour days, supporting his promotion dreams, he was on a romantic beach getaway with his 22-year-old assistant. The investigator also had something else: text messages. He'd gotten access to Davis' iCloud through methods I didn't ask about. The messages were devastating. Davis, can't wait to see you tonight. Monica thinks I'm working late. Jane, your wife is so clueless, it's almost too easy. Davis, once I get this VP position, I'm leaving her, I promise. Jane, you better. I'm not staying as your secret forever. Davis, you won't be. I just need the promotion first. Monica's connections helped get me here. Once I have the title, I don't need her anymore. I read that last message 10 times. I wasn't his partner, I wasn't his wife. I was a career tool, a networking asset, something to use and discard once I'd served my purpose. I sat in my car outside the investigator's office and cried for an hour. 8 years. 8 years of supporting this man, believing in him, sacrificing for him, and he was planning to leave me the moment he got what he wanted. Then the crying stopped, and something cold and furious took its place. He wanted that VP promotion? That promotion I'd helped him get through years of supporting his career, networking with his bosses, playing the perfect corporate wife? Fine. Let him have it. Let him get everything he wanted, and then I'd take it all away. I spent the days planning, methodically, carefully, like I was preparing for a trial. First, I consulted with a divorce attorney. I want everything documented, the affair, all of it. I want this divorce to be brutal for him. The attorney loved what I had. Adultery isn't always a factor in divorce anymore, but combined with him planning to leave you immediately after using your connections for career advancement, a judge will see this clearly. Plus, you out-earn him, he'll get minimal support. Good, I said. I want him to have nothing. Second, I made copies of everything. The investigator's full report. I had 3 complete sets. One for my lawyer, one for me, one for insurance. I informed my firm I'd need some time off soon. Personal matter, I said vaguely. They didn't press. I waited. Because the company was announcing Davis's promotion at their annual leadership dinner, a big, formal event. Important people, executives, senior management, key clients, board members. Davis had been talking about it for weeks. This is it. This is where they'll announce my promotion. You'll be there with me, right? Of course, I smiled. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Jane would be there too. As his assistant, she was expected to attend to support him. Perfect. The night before the dinner, Davis was nervous, excited but nervous. What if I mess up the speech? He said, practicing in the mirror. You'll be perfect, I assured him. You've worked so hard for this. You deserve it. He hugged me. I couldn't have done this without you, Mon. Seriously, you've been my rock. I hugged him back and said nothing, because I knew what was coming. On the day of the dinner, I got ready carefully. Bought a new dress. Red, striking, memorable. Did my hair and makeup perfectly. I wanted to look powerful, unshakable. Davis kept commenting on how beautiful I looked. "You're going to steal the show," he joked. "That's the plan," I said. He thought I was joking. We arrived at the hotel ballroom. It was elegant. Chandeliers, round tables, a stage with a podium, people mingling with drinks. I saw Jane immediately. She was wearing a tight black dress, standing with a group of junior staff. When she saw Davis, her face lit up. But when she saw me next to him, holding his arm, her smile faltered. Good. Let her be uncomfortable. "I'm going to get a drink," I told Davis. "Want anything?" "I'm good. I need to stay sharp for the speech." I got a glass of wine and positioned myself at a table near the front. Not at Davis's table. He was sitting with the executives, but close enough. Jane was at a table in the back. She kept glancing at Davis. He kept glancing back. Neither of them looked at me. Dinner was served. Speeches began. Various awards were given out. Company updates, financial results, the usual corporate event stuff. Then the CEO stood up. "And now, the moment many of you have been waiting for, we're pleased to announce a major leadership change. Greg Henderson is being promoted to Senior Vice President." Applause. Greg gave a short speech. "And taking over Greg's role as Vice President of Operations, Davis Martinez." The room erupted in applause. Davis stood, smiling broadly, shaking hands as he made his way to the stage. He looked so happy, so proud. He reached the podium, took the microphone. The applause died down. "Thank you," Davis began. "This is truly an honor. I've worked at this company for 10 years, and this promotion represents not just my hard work, but the incredible team who've supported me." He went on, thanking his boss, his team, and the CEO. Then he said the words I'd been waiting for. "And of course, I have to thank my amazing wife, Monica. She's been my partner through everything." "Monica, could you stand up?" All eyes turned to me. I stood slowly. Davis smiled at me from the stage. "I couldn't have gotten here without you, babe." I smiled back. Then I picked up my wine glass and took a sip, set it down carefully, and I spoke. "Before you continue, Davis," I said, my voice carrying across the silent ballroom, "I think there's someone else you should thank. Someone who's been supporting you very closely these past months." Davis's smile froze. "Monica, what?" "Your assistant, Jane." I turned to look at Jane's table in the back. Her face was white. "Jane, would you stand up, please?" Jane didn't move, just stared at me in horror. "No? Okay, I'll continue from here then." I turned back to Davis. "I think everyone should know that Davis has been having an affair with Jane since April. 6 months. While I was home supporting his career, he was sleeping with his 22-year-old assistant." The ballroom erupted in gasps and whispers. Davis's face went from frozen to pale to red. "Monica, sit down," he hissed into the microphone. "No, I don't think I will. See, I spent 8 years helping you get here, Davis. 8 years of supporting your career, networking with your bosses, playing the perfect corporate wife, and you were planning to leave me the moment you got this promotion. I have the text messages. You want me to read them?" "You're insane," Davis started. I pulled out my phone. "Here's one from 2 weeks ago. Davis to Jane. Once I get this VP position, I'm leaving her. Monica's connections helped get me here. Once I have the title, I don't need her anymore." The gasps were louder now. The CEO's face was dark red. The board members were whispering urgently. I looked directly at Jane, and here's Jane's response. "Your wife is so clueless. It's almost too easy." Jane stood up suddenly, nearly knocking over her chair, and rushed out of the ballroom. Several people laughed. "Monica, stop this right now," Davis said, his voice shaking. "This is inappropriate." "Inappropriate?" I laughed. "What's inappropriate is sleeping with your assistant while your wife supports your career. What's inappropriate is planning to discard your spouse the moment they're no longer useful. What's inappropriate is accepting an award you wouldn't have gotten without the woman you were planning to betray. I turned to address the room. I'm sorry to disrupt this lovely event, but I thought you all deserved to know who you're promoting. A man who lies, cheats, and uses people. A man with such poor judgment he had an affair with a subordinate, which, by the way, violates your company's ethics policy. I checked. The CEO stood up. Davis, step away from the podium. Now. Davis looked like he might pass out. Sir, I can explain. My office, Monday morning, 8 a.m. The CEO's voice was ice cold. Davis stood frozen at the podium. A security guard approached the stage. I picked up my clutch, took one last sip of my wine, and walked toward the exit. As I passed Davis's table, I dropped a manila envelope in front of the CEO. Photos and documentation, I said calmly. For your investigation, you'll find everything you need. The room was utterly silent except for my heels clicking on the floor. I walked out of that ballroom with my head high. Behind me, chaos erupted. Shouting, confusion, the sound of Davis calling my name. I got in my car and drove home. My hands were shaking, my heart was racing, but I felt lighter. I just destroyed my husband's career in front of important people, and it felt amazing. Davis came home 3 hours later. I'd changed into comfortable clothes, poured myself another glass of wine, and was sitting on the couch with divorce papers on the dining table. What the hell was that? He shouted the moment he walked in. Are you insane? You just destroyed everything. No, Davis, you destroyed everything. I just made sure everyone knew. That was my promotion, my career, years of work. That was my career help, my networking, my support. You used me. So I used your big moment to tell the truth. Seems fair. The CEO is launching a full investigation. I could be fired. You should be fired. You had an affair with a subordinate. That's a firing offense at any company with ethics policies. Why couldn't you just divorce me quietly? Why did you have to humiliate me? I laughed. Actually, I laughed. You want to talk about humiliation? How about finding out your husband of 8 years has been cheating on you for months? How about discovering he called you clueless? How about learning he was planning to leave you the moment he got what he wanted? I wasn't actually going to leave you. The texts say differently, and it doesn't matter. You planned to. You used me. You betrayed me. And you were going to stand up there, accept that promotion I helped you get, and thank me like I was some kind of prop. So yes, Davis, I humiliated you, because you deserved it. Jane lost her job, he said. They fired her tonight, on the spot. Good. She knew you were married and didn't care. She called me clueless. She participated in humiliating me. So yes, good. I'm glad she's facing consequences. This is revenge. Petty, cruel revenge. No, I said calmly. This is justice and accountability and making sure you didn't get to rewrite history as the poor husband with the crazy wife. Everyone knows exactly what you did now. Your colleagues, your boss, your clients. They all know you're a cheater and a liar. Davis looked at the divorce papers on the table. So that's it? 8 years? And you're just done? You were done months ago when you started sleeping with Jane. I'm just making it official. I pushed the papers toward him. My lawyer will be in touch. I want this done quickly. And Davis, I out-earned you. I have better lawyers. And I have evidence of adultery and your plan to leave me after using my help for your career. You're getting nothing. Davis's face crumbled. He looked sorry suddenly. I'm sorry, Monica. I'm so sorry. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. Now sign the papers and get out. You can stay at Jane's place. Oh, wait. She still lives with her parents. That'll be awkward. He left that night, took some clothes and his laptop. I changed the locks the next day.